And a very special welcome to our inaugural edition of Bury Your Bookie. I'm Jeff DeForest, a.k.a. Defo, first four letters of my last name. That's how they came up with that. And we're here to help you do just that. That is Bury Your Bookmaker. Tons of information out there right now. Lots of different theories about how to bet games and many, many reasons to stay away from a lot of that. We're here to help you, to guide you in that direction. Although, if you have a penchant for losing, unfortunately, that is a tough thing to shake, but we'll do everything in our power to help you do that. We'll have a lot of handicappers on the program. We have numbers guys. We have trend guys. We have guys that just go with gut instinct. We have guys that are lifetime winners and all kinds of people to provide input on the program to help you accomplish our mission, which I don't know. Should a show have a mission? It seems sometimes a little bit aimless, a little bit pointless. You listen to sports talk shows, you're thinking, if these guys are here to educate you, maybe we're in the wrong ballpark. But yeah, I mean, the mission would be to help you make a little bit of money over the course of time, and we try to rely on the ultimate in terms of information, and that is the comprehensive conundrum of all of the different theories that are out there. And then, in all likelihood, your best bet is to go against them. 888 admit it if you have a problem. My mother used to call me and always try to dupe me into calling. She thought I had a big gambling problem. I don't think it was as severe as my mother made it out to be. She was a simple person from Germany/Poland, the free city of Danzig, and she was not a big fan of wagering. And we've been involved in this for a long, long time, where going on a years ago, it wasn't uncommon. And it's funny how popular gambling and gambling shows are on all forms and all platforms of media. As back in the day, I mean, the minute you mentioned gambling, the program director of whatever station you were working for, whether it was radio or television, come running down the hallway with a sledgehammer and go, "You better knock that off right now or you're going to be out of here. I got your contract. It's hovering over the shredder." And now everybody loves it. Everybody wants to try to figure out a way to. And I think this is a noble endeavor that everybody should wake up every day with some kind of an idea, at least give some thought, some attention to the idea of trying to beat the system. All right, now maybe you try to beat the system, and it fits into our tenets here because I'm going to give you the number one rule of thumb here on the program, and that is never bet with your heart. Never. You have to have the heart of a Russian assassin if you're going to be successful in any kind of gambling endeavor. You have to have less of a heart than I had during the course of my second marriage, 10 years of just insane criminal activity when it came to morals and ethics and behavior. And that's the way you have to be. You can't fall in love with the fact that, let's take the USA basketball team in the Olympics, for example. Huge point spreads. I mean, they were just screaming to bet on the opposition. And yet, as a red-blooded American, the last thing on earth you wanted to do was be rooting for Jokic to make a free throw so that you could go up 11 in the third quarter and therefore have no chance to lose against the spread, which was a rather generous, I think, 15, 16 points in that game. You were feeling pretty good about yourself. But your loyalties may be, and your heart might have been, with the good old US of A. And let's face it, if you looked at the roster, you have Jason Tatum, arguably the number one component of a championship NBA basketball team, the Boston Celtics last year. You can make a case for Jaylen Brown. You could say that Tatum couldn't have possibly done it on his own. But in general, if you watch the Celtics over the course of the entire regular season, and then even into the postseason, where he wasn't quite as effective as Brown was, still, you would have to say that the number one key to any success that the Celtics had this year, was Jason Tatum. MVP candidate, viably in the conversation. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of his game. I think he comports himself very well. Real humble gentleman and seems to say and do all of the right things, the kind of guy that you could really embrace if you were a Boston Celtics fan. And no doubt, I mean, he has unified support all around the city of Beantown now after bringing in the championship. This guy can't even get his warm-up suit off. For a team that is so loaded with talent that you would be thinking you would have to be out of your mind not to lay any number of points in backing the USA Olympic basketball team. And they were just taking your money right and left. Never bet with your heart. I mean, you're looking at 4 losses in 6 games against the point spread. you're up 2 units. If you're betting $100, you're up a couple of hundred. If you're betting a dime a game, you're up a couple of thousand. If you're one of these monster bettors, you're betting 20,000 a game, you're up $40,000. Betting against your heart. Never bet with your heart. That would be the number one credo of anybody that was involved in degeneracy, and it would have paid dividends. And it gets into the second one, which is never lay points. We've had a consensus of handicappers on our various shows talking about this aspect of gambling, and it is just detrimental to your financial well-being to lay points. And how disappointing is it to get a win no cover? My God, they should have asked Steve Kerr about that a couple of times. But here, your team wins. They do everything right. This was a team that went undefeated, the USA men's basketball team, 6-0. Nothing wrong with that. In general, by the time you looked at the final margins, they were comfortable enough to say that this was an extremely dominating performance. And yet, if you were laying points, where do you stand? You stand at 2-4, my friends. You're a loser, and you're not what you appear to be. So never lay points. That would be number two. Never bet with your heart. Never lay points. USA men's Olympic basketball team, a classic recent example of the pain that you incur. I mean, you may as well just stand on that bridge there above the Seine River and jump in. Jumping into waters that not even Jacques Cousteau would venture into. What was that, by the way? The Olympics, where they had these guys doing the marathon swim in the Seine River. I'm thinking, and I used to walk by the Hudson River on a somewhat regular basis when I lived in New York, going to work in the city. And I'm thinking, what schmutz? Nobody in their right mind would jump into this thing. You have to be kidding me. You have mercury-laced fish washing up, belly up on the shore. And they're forcing these Olympians to jump in there. That was a little bit suspect about the games, which overall I thought was just a tremendous presentation. If the French were trying to accomplish with their billions of dollars of staging the games, a pathway to your heart to maybe think about coming to Paris and taking the trip up the Eiffel Tower, I think they accomplished their mission and did it with gold stars all over the place. Because you used to think of the French, I don't know, was this a stigma that really didn't have any bearing in fact? That the French essentially were going to treat American tourists like a bunch of assholes that they really didn't want around. Go have your croissant, go see the Eiffel Tower, and then get the fuck out of here. That was kind of the approach that I saw, at least for many years. It was put forward as part of the narrative about traveling to Paris, and that's why I chose to go to Italy on my one trip to Europe that I've taken in my lifetime, thinking much friendlier people there might fare a little bit better. But they did a wonderful job of overcoming all of that in overwhelming fashion after getting off to a somewhat suspect start there with the Last Supper thing that everybody maybe misinterpreted, had a conniption about. Let's face it, it's the French, it's art. Even in the closing ceremonies, I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on with that bee. I'm not sure what that symbolized. If anybody knows, feel free to inform us here at Bury Your Bookie. But, after the ceremonies, they're so existential. You got to figure it's the French, it's art. It's a kind of thing where, in general, they have you wanting to read a book by Jean-Paul Sartre and then go find some remote place to blow your brains out. That was kind of their approach. But they overcame all of that and made it seem like a wonderful place to be. And the competition couldn't have been any better. Even with some of the obscure sports, it was great. Some of the things were a little bit tough to embrace. I don't know. A lot of controversy about the breakdancing. And then team handball. That really does look like a game that your gym coach invented when the equipment room was locked and it was raining outside. He couldn't send you outside to play softball or something. So he said, okay, everybody in the gym. Then he realized he couldn't get at the equipment. They had one little sponge ball, and he said, okay, we got the 2 goals, set them up over there. Just invented a game. And yet it was part of the Olympic fanfare of the 32 sports that were offered. That a little bit suspect. But overall, a colossal success, the Olympic Games, I thought, in France. And now can't wait for the 4 years to go and maybe even venture out to Los Angeles to catch some of that. But if you were betting that, I hope that you followed our first few couple of tenets. Never bet with your heart, never lay points, and then don't check your gut at the door if you're going to be making wagers. If you're going to go out there and be betting on a regular basis, use your own gut instinct once in a while, even if you're known to be dead wrong, because it'll be the one time you're right is the time that you unload based on somebody else's opinion. You have to trust yourself at least a little bit. And with that, we're going to give you a couple of picks here on Bury Your Bookie. And I would say tread with caution because literally, yeah, my last few wagers on sports, unfortunately, outside of taking a stand against the U.S. Olympic basketball team and betting Southern Sudan, which was a home run, right? Getting 30, 40 points a game. They got five guys that look like Manute Bol. That was great. That was easy money. But we have a theory about the AFC East. Looking into some NFL futures here on the first show. And wow, we've been following this team forever here. Right? We originate the program, Bury Your Bookie, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Following the Miami Dolphins, been affiliated with the franchise for a long time. No longer as closely associated with it, but been on the inside, the outside, and seen the years of futility, 20 years of being mired in mediocrity, and they've been trying to shake it off forever. First, they went into tank mode. Then they went into spending and free agency mode. A lot of draft capital that they accumulated when they were unloading players, and it all is on the table right now for the Miami Dolphins. They make the contract move with Tua, so Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback. So it appears that he is more than satisfied. Tyreek Hill got a boatload of money as well. Jalen Waddle, and these are the three guys that comprise the core of what could be the most electrifying offense in the National Football League, with all due respect to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm not saying that Tua is Mahomes or even close. He's not. And he still has to prove that he can win key ball games, as witnessed by the fact that they blew a chance to win the AFC East, which they had in the palm of their hand by gassing a game against Tennessee last year towards the end of the season when they gave up like 24 points in the last 2 minutes and saw Tennessee come from behind and swipe a game from them that proved to be crucial to their playoff chances and their chances of winning the division. Had it locked up. So they are plus 210 to win the division as the third choice in the AFC East this year. If it doesn't happen this year, it's never going to happen. That would be the common wisdom around town. That the Miami Dolphins far and away have their best chance to win an AFC Eastern Division title. Patriots are at the bottom. They're going to be lucky to win 4 or 5 games this year. The Jets are enamored with the idea that they have Aaron Rodgers back, a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who's a little bit whacked out to begin with, who may be completely detached from what it takes to win a Super Bowl at this stage. He's going to be under the scrutiny and the fire of the people of New York, who are going to turn on him after 5 games if the Jets are 2-3. And he's coming off one of the most devastating injuries that a quarterback can incur. Just ask Dan Marino, our man, who the Miami Dolphins have not been a solid franchise since the departure of Marino, and that was 1999, my friends. So a lot of years of futility, a lot of years of frustration. It's a little bit difficult to make this recommendation, but the Buffalo Bills lost some key personnel, including Stephon Diggs. We've seen Josh Allen. He's consistently error-prone and capable of throwing the devastating pick at the worst of times. And I think that tendency is going to come back and haunt him again this season. And they're just not as good of a team as they were in the past. The Dolphins have kind of had their number, almost beat them a couple of years ago in the postseason with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. And I believe that the Bills will be compromised. I don't think the Jets are as good as they think they are. And the people in New York, I mean, go have a knish and come back to me at the end of the season. Tell me I'm wrong. But the Dolphins at plus 210 to win the AFC East as the third choice. That would be one of our recommendations here on our initial program of Bury Your Bookie. And then we'll give you a ball game tonight. I don't know, for no apparent reason, except I think the Houston Astros in a dogfight, an absolute dogfight, in the AL West with the Seattle Mariners, who are really playing some great baseball of late. They're in a dead heat, a virtual dead heat, top the division. The Astros on the road tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays, who already went into their fire sale mode, which seems to be annual. Somehow they always manage to make a representative showing. So a little bit of a dangerous hook in here, but I think the Astros laying a short price on the road with Framber Valdez on the mound may be worth a sniff tonight. And if that doesn't work, you get the rest of the season free. Anyway, good to be with you here on the show. I absolutely appreciate No Filter and the people there for backing us up. Great job on the artwork by our friend Henry. And we'll have handicappers and all kinds of guests and a lot of crazy stuff coming up on the program. Had to get this initial one on the road here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We have the Astros laying 120. Now, that's not laying points, but laying a little bit of a price. Laying 120, and they have to beat the Rays tonight, and then Down the road, Dolphins plus 210 to win the AFC East. And with that, we will hope that you have great success no matter where you're making your wagers to go out there and just absolutely bury your bookie. I'm Jeff DeForest, and we'll see you next time.